Good afternoon. My name is Ruth Ann, and I'm continuing a short series of look inside and overviews, read-alouds of children's books to help mamas, aunties, teachers to have down-to-earth, practical, straightforward conversations with children about their bodies, boundaries, safety, and health. We have one more hardcover book in the grouping that we're looking at today. It is this one by Jill Starshevsky, My Body Belongs to Me. This book is a little rhyming story, and it goes over the right way, the proper way for parents to respond to their child when a discovery or disclosure is made of something unsavory that happened. Sometimes parents can become upset with a perpetrator and react in strong ways to a child who comes to tell them that something happened. And this can be scary for a child victim because survivors of sexual molestation typically always blame themselves, wondering, what did I do wrong? So as I'm paging through this short book, you're seeing the artwork and the very practical or general way that these types of occurrences happen in a child's home or with direct family members, someone they know and love. Now here they are visiting his uncle, and the uncle's friend came and touched him in that place that no one else can see. He trusts his mom and dad. He remembers that he may go to them for help when he doesn't like something that happens. And I love that this little book also gives the option of telling another grown-up in the case that the mom or the dad doesn't feel safe to a young person. At the very end of the story, there are some tools here and tips and suggestions, helping children to understand they have boundaries and they get to choose who touches them and when. Helping children to identify safe people. Keeping a working list in mind of who to go to. And then at the end are some other organizations such as Darkness to Light, 1866 FORLIGHT, or Child Help, or RAIN for Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, an excellent organization. So there are resources. When I Feel Afraid, and about the author. So many choices, but I do like this little book by Free Spirit, and I wanted to see when it was copyrighted, 2014. Okay. All right. Here is Stan and Brenna Jones' little book, God's Design for Sex, Book 1, and you'll notice the gold seal of Christian Excellence. This is a very, very excellent series. This one is paperback. I believe they made it a little smaller now in the most current printing. On the back here, they write, "It's never too early to begin giving your child a practical understanding of his or her unique, beautiful body and why God designed it to be exactly the way it is. Nav Press is the publisher of this little series. For ages 3 to 5, this little paperback in orange. It was first copyrighted in 1995, and this is the 2007 edition. I do know that there is a more current, updated version now. More letters to parents in the front, teachers, about beliefs and values, overviews of the series telling you about what's inside the other book. And in this series, all 4 or 5 books are the same size. They do not have individual books for boy and girl the way that Concordia publishers do. But they do have beautiful watercolor illustrations, which I find comforting. So you might like this approach. Again, it's a family conversation with little people. Tell me my story again, Daddy, the little boy asks. All right. You're Paul Jackson, and you have a baby sister named Sarah. You're 4 and a half. You live at 4412 Comet Road, apartment 3B in... No, not that. I mean, tell me where I come from. Tell me a story about me. Oh, that story, Daddy says. Mommy and I would be glad to. Do you want to start, Mommy? All right, long ago, God knew about mommies and daddies, and about their mommy and daddy. He knew about your father, and about me, and your sister, and you. He already loved us all. One reason God made Daddy and me is so we can love each other. Then we can have you and Sarah and love you both. Is that why I was born? So you can have a little boy to love? Yes, and there's other reasons. God wants you to love him with your whole heart. It goes on. It shows a shadow of a baby in Mama's womb. How can I breathe inside of you, Mommy? How can I eat? What good questions you ask, Paul. Talks about the belly button. Did Sarah come out the way I did? Talks about cesarean sections and natural births. Here's a baby learning to turtle. Private parts, making you a boy or a girl. Why, Mommy? Why did God make boys and girls? Because the man and woman make God really happy. Are all hugs and kisses good? Will I become a daddy? If God blesses you. Oh, Mommy, I like my story. I'm so glad God made me. This book has pencil drawings, and it is written by Linda Walvord Gerard. It's a short story, and I do really like this book. It's by Albert Whitman and Company. There's other books by this company. Adoption is for Always, Alex, A Kid with AIDS, Daddy's on Saturdays, We Adopted You, Who is a Stranger and What Should I Do, You Were Born on Your Very First Birthday, and Young Frederick Douglass, A Slave Who Learned to Read. This copyright date is 1984, so this is an old book, but I think it's so useful. Some things in the world are private. Whatever has my name, Julie, on it is mine. That means don't touch and do not disturb unless I say you can. Nobody else uses my toothbrush. It is private, I told my brother Rob. Yuck, he said, who would want to? When a door is closed at our house, that means private. Please knock. My brother Rob has a room. It's private. He can look in the mirror and comb his hair if he wants. My parents close the door to their room sometimes. If the door to my room is closed, it means I want to be by myself. My body is private too. I'm not a baby anymore. I can take care of myself a lot of the time, but sometimes the doctor has to touch my bottom during a checkup. My mommy said he asks me first. If anybody else starts to touch me, I can say no. Most of the time I like to be touched. Mom hugs me when I sit on her lap. My dog likes to touch me too, and my baby brother. Dad and I dance. I sit on my babysitter's lap for stories. But sometimes touching doesn't feel good. Last night, Rob tickled me more and more until I could hardly breathe. At first, I thought it was fun, but then my stomach started to hurt. He had my arms pinned down. Stop, I said. He kept right on. Stop! Stop! I yelled. Rob, stop it now, Dad said. Julie doesn't like it anymore. It's only a game, Rob said. In this family, Dad said firmly, any kind of touching, you stop when they say stop. All right, you're free. Rob went off to work on his homework. Thank you, Daddy, I said as he ruffled my hair. I'm so glad Dad made Rob stop. I love my brother, but sometimes even your own family and friends don't think about how you might feel about them touching you. Take Uncle Ted. That's my dad's brother. He comes over to our house and brings peppermints. I like it, but I don't want to get too close to Uncle Ted. Uncle Ted used to invite me to sit on his lap and pat and rub my arms. Pat, pat, rub, rub. It didn't feel good to me. He smelled like tobacco. When Uncle Ted was here the last time, I asked my mom, do I have to let Uncle Ted put me on his lap? I don't like it. Of course you don't have to, Mom told me. You can say no. But Uncle Ted might think I don't like him. Mom frowned. The important thing is your feelings. Uncle Ted can understand. I can tell him for you, but I think you can do it. Just say, no thanks, I don't want to. The next time Uncle Ted came over, he started to put me on his lap. Out came his arm curling toward me. I said, no thanks, I don't want to, and stepped away. Uncle Ted looked at me. My heart was pounding. Too big for me, huh? He said. He was smiling, though. All right, Princess. I couldn't believe it. He didn't seem mad at all. I didn't know that I could make Uncle Ted stop, but I could. When he left, he patted my head, showing we are still friends. I talked to my mom about what happened. I'm so proud of you, Julie, for sticking up for your feelings, my mom said. If you don't feel good about the way someone is touching you, you can tell that person to stop. Did Uncle Ted do anything wrong to me, Mom? No, she said. He just didn't know how you feel. That's why you have to tell him. But it would have been wrong if he kept on touching you after you asked him to stop. And it is wrong if grown-ups or older kids try to touch and rub the private parts in your body, your breasts, your vagina, or your bottom. It's wrong if someone says, pull down your pants, or when they pull down theirs. Or if someone asks to take a picture of you without your clothes on. Ugh, I said. Who'd ever try to do that? It could be someone you know, a babysitter, a teacher, or a friend, or even someone in our family. It probably won't ever happen. You don't need to worry over it, but I need you to know what to do. That way you know what to do if a fire starts. I'd get mad, I told Mom. I'd shout no and run away. Good, Mom said. And you can come and tell me what happened. Sometimes it's hard to make a person stop acting that way. He or she might pretend it's a game or tell you you'll get in trouble if you tell anyone. They might try to scare you. But I want to know it if someone touches the private parts of your body, no matter how scared you are, and no matter who it is. I don't care if it's Santa Claus. You can tell me. And if I'm not around, you can tell Daddy or your teacher or someone else you feel safe to trust. If one person doesn't believe you when you tell another person. You don't have to be afraid to tell, and it's not your fault when something happens. I don't want you to get in trouble for telling. Mom, I said, I wouldn't keep that a secret. That's a smart girl, Mom said. If you keep it a secret, no one can help. Now it's time to get ready for bed. I put on my nightie and brushed my teeth, and Daddy rode me piggyback to my room. He pretended I was too heavy for him. Oof, he said. I think you're bigger than you were last night. Pretty soon you're going to be all grown up. Well, I am growing up. I know now what private means, and I know what I'd do if someone tried to touch my private parts of my body. I can tell. I give my dad and my mom a goodnight hug. I'm glad most touching is good. It's wonderful to throw your arms around people you love. And a letter to parents in the back by John R. Conte, Ph.D. from the University of Chicago. By talking to your child, you can prevent sexual abuses. For more information, contact Prevent Child Abuse America at info@preventchildabuse.org or call 1-800-CHILDREN. I'm going to stop this video here because it's almost 20 minutes long. There's one more book that's very excellent, but we'll put it in a separate book, separate recording because shorter videos are easier to watch. Thank you for being with us today. Cheers as you talk with your children. Conversations don't have to be awkward, but it's okay if you're nervous.